Hello and welcome. It is September the 5th. This is Pretty Good Gaming. I'm going to talk about a load of news that happened in the news of the last 24 hours. Loads of news that happened in the news, that's not. And what's making the most headlines today is that a lot of people are looking forward to this Spiderman game. I don't know, you might have heard of it. It's releasing on Friday, but the reviews have launched. So let's talk about the reviews. I haven't played it myself. I'm just talking about the reviews. This is the review roundup. I've not played it. This is the disclaimer, just so that you know that I haven't played it. I have no opinions about the game, playing the game or not, because I have not played the game. I'm just talking about the reviews, okay? So don't come here saying you haven't even played the game. You don't even know what you're talking about. After much anticipation, reviews have finally dropped for Insomniac's upcoming PS4 game, Spiderman, and overall, things are looking very good for the web-slinging superhero. It currently sits at a score of 87 on Metacritic based on 85 critic reviews, with 80 positive reviews and only 5 mixed at the time of recording. It also sits at a score of 88 on OpenCritic based on 78 scored reviews. Outlet IGN gave it an 8.7, saying, Insomniac has delivered a Spider-Man story that both surprised and delighted me, coupled with the gameplay that made me feel like Spider-Man nearly every step of the way. Polygon, who don't give review scores anymore, gave it a recommendation, saying, the action sequences are breathless and memorable, but after the game's final act I was left wanting more. Just like the summer blockbuster, Spider-Man leaves too much waiting in the wings for its obviously upcoming sequel. Kotaku also wrote a glowing review saying, as a playground for one of the most idiosyncratic superheroes of all time, Marvel's Spider-Man is sheer bliss. It's a sandbox platformer first and foremost, and a damn good one. Eurogamer gave it a recommendation saying, a rare harmony of developer and license makes Insomniac's open worlder a total treat. The lowest review, however, came in from The Guardian, which gave a 3 out of 5 star rating, criticising the game for its imperfect world and supervillain showdowns, which it called confused and messy. The review concludes as follows: this game shows tremendous love for all things Spider-Man, and the ending packs a punch you would be proud of, but Insomniac relies too much on its hero to elevate the world built around him, with the result that the game wears thin some time before its powerful conclusion. And it wasn't just reviews coming out, as Digital Foundry released a 30-minute analysis which came to a conclusion that might surprise you. They concluded that any allegations of a graphical downgrade that have been making the news recently were pretty inaccurate because there simply hasn't been one. Instead, Digital Foundry noted that the game had been upgraded, both technically and artistically. The only potential downgrade could be the cube map art, opting for a generic one that produces the illusion of lower fidelity reflections. Digital Foundry say that this explains why the puddles were moved, to produce the best effect with the different cube map art. We recommend you watch the full Digital Foundry video to get a better idea of just how much this game has been upgraded since E3 last year, and the link can be found in the description below. Maybe it was just the sun that moved. Digital Foundry generally do a good job with these analysis videos. If they say it hasn't been downgraded, usually they tell the truth, so I mean, I'm not one to judge. One thing's for sure from the footage that I've seen, the game looks pretty damn good. And in general, the reviews have been really high, really good. 87, that's a good score. You might think it's not a 90, it's not a God of War. 87 is solid. Unfortunately, like everyone else, I'm gonna have to wait until Friday to get my hands on it. But I'm still excited for the game. I'm still gonna play it. Graphical downgrade, potentially or not. But how are you guys now feeling about Spider-Man? Are you really excited to pick it up? These reviews mean anything to you? Have these reviews changed your mind? Have these reviews changed it from being like slightly negative towards it to being, oh, hang on a minute, that's probably worth my time? Is this a day one purchase for you based on these reviews? Were you always going to get it all along, or were you waiting for the reviews to say whether it was good or not? Or are you still put off by the potential graphical downgrade or the plans for the DLC which they announced before releasing the game? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Next up, let's talk about everybody's favourite industry topic, microtransactions. 2K have been back in the news yet again, this time for an interview with the producer of NBA 2K19, Rob Jones. He was interviewed by trusted reviews, and it was all about microtransactions. Last year, players complained about how much of a grind the game's progression was and felt as though it was an excuse to get people to buy microtransactions. In response to these complaints, Jones said that microtransactions are a, quote, unfortunate reality of modern gaming. Unfortunate reality. So he's saying it's unfortunate that we're having to take money off you with these microtransactions. It's just unfortunate. Just the way it is, it's just unfortunate. unfortunate. Jones went on to say that when implementing their virtual currency, they asked themselves, when does it feel like it's a straight money grab versus when it feels like it's value added? The fact that he says that implies that he's wondering how far they can go before people will complain about a cash grab. That's not the way to look at games. That's not the way to consider how you're monetizing your game. So long as it's not a cash grab, we're doing all right, guys. So long as it's not perceived as grabbing cash, it's fine, guys, right? That isn't game development. That isn't unfortunate. That's plain shady. He further defended the inclusion of microtransactions in NBA 2K19, stating that we know nowadays that most people don't have the patience to work their way to the top. They just want to be there right away. So, we look at it as, oh, it's an opportunity for us to allow you to skip the grind. But then if the grind is too long, like some people felt last year, they're going to sit there and they're going to go, well, you knew the grind was too long to begin with. Jones finishes off by saying that buying virtual currency is a choice, not a force, and would like fans to see it that way too. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would love to see fans buying more microtransactions and not feeling that they're forced to. That means he makes more money. How about giving us the choice to skip the grind without paying for it? That isn't choice. It isn't choice if you have to get your wallet out to unlock certain features of the game or to speed your way through the game. If that is their true concern, that they want players to get to the end game quicker because they don't have the time, why monetize it? You don't need to monetize that shit. You're just using it as an excuse. You could easily add in cheat codes like they used to do. I don't know, I'm very animated about when it comes to microtransactions and these bullshit excuses that they come up with to say that it's just an unfortunate reality. It's only in a reality because you're fucking doing it. I don't know, I get wound up so easily by bullshit, man. I can't stay objective with this. I didn't even try. Right, let's move on to some news nuggets. It was announced that Henry Cavill was cast as lead Geralt in Netflix's Witcher series. Is this gaming news? Rebel Galaxy Outlaw got a kick-ass gameplay trailer. Nintendo desperately want you to be excited about playing 30-year-old games, announcing that you will be able to play the original Mario Brothers online with a friend on the Switch. Warframe parent company Outlaw Games announced it's working on a free-to-play AAA Lord of the Rings MMO, which will come to PC and consoles. Could Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition be getting an imminent console port? The Switch has now sold 5 million units in Japan. PUBG has now sold 9 million units on Xbox. Moonfall Ultimate is out now on Switch, PS4, Xbox and PC. And this was Call of Duty Black Ops design director's response when asked if the game will be coming to the Switch.
I just make the shoes.
There are links to all the news nuggets that I've mentioned today down in the description of this video. Go and check them out. And there's a link in the description to the PGG merch store where you can get your very own PGG t-shirt as well as a mug. You can get, there's all sorts of stuff. There's a clock. Just t-shirts and mugs, really. Bad shirts, dad jokes, games. That is what this channel's all about. So if you're new here, this is the dad jokes section, right? And today's dad joke comes in from JRH2385 from the PGG Discord. Did you ever hear the story about the constipated mathematician? He had to work it out with a pencil. That's so poor. That's so poor. Next up, Battlefield 5 developers DICE just announced some new details on their upcoming World War II game. The announcement took the form of a 6.5-minute narrated trailer, which details the changes the game will bring to the series, as well as what DICE is planning post-launch. They announced that the Battle Royale mode in the game will be called Firestorm. DICE also said how the Firestorm map will feature the biggest map in the series so far. However, it will not feature the usual every man for himself mode that you normally associate with Battle Royale, and will exclusively be squad-based, with 16 teams of 4 players battling it out. They also promised that the mode will feature highly destructible buildings, as well as the vehicular-based combat that the series is known for. Tides of War is what they're calling the post-launch content, which will kick off with the Fall of Europe expansion set in 1940s France. DICE also promised new content on a weekly and even daily basis for Tides of War, which will see players explore Greece next year. The release of Battlefield 5 has been pushed back and will be available on PS4, Xbox One and PC now on the 20th of November. November, with the open beta being available from like yesterday for pre-orderers and tomorrow, the 6th of September, for the regular folk like me and you. And that will run until the 11th of September. What do you reckon, guys? Are you educated enough to take on Battlefield this year? Will you be jumping into the beta to check out what it's all about? Or are you not fussed? Are you just put off by the whole nonsense that's surrounding Battlefield? Or do you think it looks great? I mean, maybe you think it just looks great and you're going to buy it anyway because you love Battlefield. Let me know what you think down in the description. Next up, some World of Warcraft players found themselves pleasantly surprised on Monday when a glitch meant they could access high-level items before they should have. The latest add-on for World of Warcraft, named Battle of Azeroth, brings back the Mythic Plus dungeons, which debuted in World of Warcraft's previous expansion. The way the Mythic dungeons work is that the faster you complete a dungeon, the harder the next one will be, but the rewards get gradually higher. By the end of the week, players should receive a high-level item based on the difficulty of the hardest dungeon they completed. Some players managed to bag themselves gear that was way above the game's current level cap, which is set at 355. In fact, some players were lucky enough to bag loot that was as high as level 400, significantly higher than what they should be wielding. Of course, it's not all good news, because if you're somebody who takes World of Warcraft's competitive side pretty seriously, then you might not be happy about this at all. At the time of recording, Blizzard have yet to rectify this mistake. So there you have it. That completes our daily dose of gaming news for today. We'll be back again tomorrow, exactly the same time. Hit the bell if you want to be notified of when that video goes live. I will see you then. Bye for now.